Hello, everyone. Welcome to. Oh, give me 1 second.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Clean Greens Living, broadcasted here live on Rainier Avenue Radio. It is your host, Queen Bree, and we are here. We are excited for a brand new day. It is just one of those days. Me and Daniel in the background trying to get our lives together. So thank you for bearing with us and being patient. I have just a few announcements, and I can't wait to bring on our guest for today. The Call to Conscience Museum opens in a couple of weeks, you guys. On February 14th, Valentine's Day. Look, are y'all ready for Valentine's Day? Do you guys got your gifts and stuff ready? I know I do. I ordered my man a shirt. Well, let me not say what it is in case he's listening. But I'm prepared this year. Normally I ain't. But Valentine's Day, the Call to Conscience Museum will be open. So if you have not heard about the Call to Conscience, every year for the past couple of years, Rainier Avenue Radio has set up a museum that focuses on our community history in movie history and media history. So it is very important that you come by, support, and learn about the things that have happened in your community in the past and that are going and things that are happening in now. So the Call to Conscience Museum opens up in a couple of weeks, Valentine's Day. It will be open Thursday and Fridays, 3 to 7 p.m. and Saturday and Sundays, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can get your tickets at calltoconscience.world. Grab your tickets at calltoconscience.world. Also, there will be a live tribute concert to history of funk and Parliament this Saturday at the Columbia City Theater at 7:30 p.m. You can get those tickets at columbiacitytheater.world. All right, guys, this conversation today is going to be a little deep for us. As you all know, last Friday, 2 students at Rainier Beach were murdered after school, and it is another gun violence that has impacted our community. And our guest that that's going to be on today, I met her yesterday when we showed up to support our students that were coming back to school. This is a conversation that needs to be had everywhere. And we're starting here, for me, I'm starting here with the show. But I really wanted to have a conversation with the community member, our community members, and figure out ways that we can show up and support our students. These gun violence is happening too often, and we are losing our children to senseless crimes at such a young age. And I've noticed that we can have all these think pieces and talks on social media, but what are we doing in real time, in real life? What actions are we coming up with? And I was connected with Lanisha, who is out here doing some real community work, and she is here today. Thank you for, I just want to bring her on and just give her thanks for being here in such short time to talk about the things that she's doing in our community with our children. So everybody, welcome Lanisha Landry. Landry, is it Landry or Laundry?
Landry, thank you.
Hi, Lanisha, how are you?
Yes, I'm doing okay.
Good.
And thank you for having me. I do think conversations are needed, and also boots on the ground and just support and wraparound services after trauma like this happens it's a huge need. Yeah. So I am a mother that lost their 16-year-old to gun violence on July 12th of 2024. His name is Xavier Landry. Some people decide to say was, but he's still a huge part of me, and he's my purpose. He's helped me find my reason in life. And I say that as I have now birthed my own nonprofit called Just Us Loved Ones, and it's to provide therapeutic services for the siblings of murder victims. And I found myself at a time where I was just in a tunnel, and I was focusing only on my son that had passed. And I'm a mother of 4. So my oldest was taken from me, but I have 3 living children that attend South Shore. And I was thinking I need to do something that helps the mothers in that space when it happens. You have living children running around, and you're so stuck on how a piece of you is gone, you kind of miss out on the living. And so my thoughts in that yesterday, for me standing so firmly there at the scene where that happened, I was there from 11 a.m. till 6:30, 6:45 last night. And it was to give out hugs, to listen to our youth, to just pat them on the back, and also give them praise for letting their voice be heard at such a time where grief and sorrow and pain can take over, where you don't want to talk and you don't want to show up, but they still expect you to show up and act as if nothing happened as you walk past the balloons and you walk past the candles and the flowers. So that's why I am pleased. I'm very pleased to be here, to be able to talk and say, we need more. We need more. We need more of a presence. That's what I heard from our youth. They want us out there. It felt good for them to see us out there standing with them. It reassured them of a safe space in their community, and that's needed.
Nice. I'm glad that they felt that, and I really loved how you touched on your son's name is, because
Yeah.
people think just because they're not here in the physical form of what we know, that they're not still here. And it really brings to light that their lives still and did mean something.
Yeah.
You're doing something with it. So I love that. My son's name is. Um, and you went through this yourself. I kind of put two and two pieces together when I was standing there listening to everyone, but I wasn't sure. How did it feel for you to show up in this space knowing that you were once in the position where the moms were? How did
It was very important. It was very, very important. It was important for them to see me, even though my son was taken from me. I'm still someone that's a mom and an auntie to the rest of the babies that are left to push through. And I wanted them to know that you're not just going to see me on Facebook. You're not going to be able to just text me and call me, but I'm going to actually pull up. I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna stand with you, or whatever it is. And then they call me for little things like, "Oh, Auntie, can you Uber me or can you DoorDash me?" But I wanted them to know that they can also find a safe space within me to lean on. So when you need to cry, just know I may not have all the words, but I do have a praying soul and a praying mind, to where when I'm not saying anything and I'm standing there, I'm praying, and I'm praying for protection, and I'm praying for strength, and I'm praying for our youth as a whole, because these were two young men that were my son's friends. One had went from South Shore to Rainier Beach with him. So that's my baby too. This isn't just someone's son. This is my son. So
can you
it was very important for me to be there.
can you tell us a little bit about your son?
Yeah, my son, he was some like to categorize kids, and they categorize kids by where they were, where they grew up. My son attended South Shore from pre-K all the way to 8th grade. Then he went to Rainier Beach. Then I took him out and said, okay, it's getting a little wild, you're starting to become a teenager, let me try this homeschool thing. And I worked from home, so I was on one side of the table, he was on the other side of the table. The plan was, we're going to do this for a little while, and you're going back to Rainier Beach to graduate. Well, during that little gap there, my son was murdered. And
Mm.
so my son was considered a South End kid. And a lot of people hear things like that and they say, well, they kind of get scared of that kind of language. But at the end of the day, I was a South End baby. So it does not limit or stunt your growth by where you grow up. And I think people are forgetting that, and they're categorizing our babies, and they're labeling them as gang members, or affiliating them to things outside of just the culture.
Mhm,
And I'm
mhm.
tired of it. So my son was one that just grew up in that area. He was one that he was a goofy one. So I have videos of him and one of the individuals that passed away play fighting, and they called each other brother. So when I say these were my babies. I say that because as I pulled up to the school to pick up my son, it was brother, brother. You know, every time I turned around, it was this brother, that brother, this brother. That's my sis. That's my sis. That's my sister. So I become like that became my train of thought. These are my babies. And
Yeah.
my son was goofy and full of life, and he never carried a gun. I was the mom that went through the backpack, went through the puffer jacket, went through the hoodie, said, "Oh no, you're not wearing a pooch shiesty." I know that's the trend, but
Yeah.
not mine because that scares me. It scares me because three people wearing a pooch shiesty or the face mask, whatever they decide to call it, murdered my son. So
Mm.
as I stood in the crowd at the candlelight on Saturday, there was a lot of kids that had that on, and it wasn't because they were wanting to commit crimes. That's something that made them feel safe. It helped them to feel safe. So, in the midst of me feeling like, oh my gosh, this was something that scared me and had me so fearful after I knew there were suspects and my son's murder is still unsolved, that
Oh,
wore things like this, there I found myself walking up and giving them hugs and giving them a balloon and saying, I know there's some things you don't want to say, but you can write down and release and let it go up and let it get off you. Know, like just being that. And that is my form and my thoughts of therapeutic services because it's letting the person get out what they feel they have to kind of close in and they have to act out and react instead of finding ways to prevent those feelings.
I love that you, I'm happy that I have you on here because a lot of the times when this happens in our community, like you say, they label our children, they label the parents, they blame the parents. And
Yeah.
listening to you and talking to you, you are an active parent. You were an active parent. You did everything you could to protect your son. How do you what is your advice for parents who are navigating this as they listen to people blame them, knowing that they did everything that they could to make sure that their kids was protected?
Don't give up. Don't blame yourself. Know that there's people out here like myself that are standing with you. And when I say that, I am working alongside of three other mothers that lost their children to gun violence. And we're all standing in solidarity and we're asking other organizations to stand with us in the community as we are putting on a march on March 14th on Capitol Hill to say enough is enough. And this isn't just about our children that have lost their lives to gun violence. This is also about the parents that are saying, hey, I have some of these troubled youth. I've done all I can do. I've reached out to every organization and I've even reached out to the court system and said, no, please don't release my son. Keep him there in juvenile and give him the rehabilitation services within those walls. So when he does get out, he cherishes life a little bit more. He cherishes his worth a little bit more and he doesn't reoffend. But there's in the same token, there's people that go against that and they say, no, well, just release them. You know, they need to be on home detention and the jail is not the place for them. But if we're using it correctly as rehabilitation, it's
Mhm.
exactly where they need to be. And that will save a life because once they're gone, there's no coming back.
Yeah.
So
How did Um, I want to touch on what you just said, but also let's touch on that real quick. I love how you said the rehabilitation. So what I'm hearing is, and as we hear it, as you speak, I'm just going to start calling things out because we need to talk about this in the community. So there is a call to action for rehabilitation. So if the rehabilitation is not happening in the jail system, how can we as a community come together and have that rehabilitation happen in our community? Because we can't do it alone. We are community members, and it
yes,
can't just be on the parents.
yes, that
It
is true.
takes all of us. I just before I even came on here, I did my little rant. I do random rants on social media. My rant was that we can't keep blaming our parents. It's community, it's church, it's
Mhm.
school. How can we restore that relationship and restore it and build real practical ways that we can help our children? I'm really, oh, sorry, go ahead. What was you going to say?
Oh, no, no, no. I totally agree.
I'm really curious. How did you pull yourself out of it? Because it is, you can get, I have not lost a child. I can only imagine when this happens, you look at your children and you're going into this what if. How did you pull yourself out of, like, okay, I still have three children that are here in the body. How did you pull yourself out to be able to be there for them and create a nonprofit organization?
And I like to just be honest because I'm just a real person. So
Be real.
when my son was murdered, I became a detective, an investigator. Uh, I wanted to almost seek vengeance. Like I became almost a vigilante. Like it was so many things that I was being and that I was becoming in my mind. And that's what had me in that tunnel. And so I reached out to my doctor and I said, I'm not sleeping at night. Like my brain is constantly running. And so I did get a little medicine to help me sleep, which was Xanax. It was 2 milligrams. And again, I like to just keep it real. And so I had to program myself to get back into actually going to sleep, something that people take for granted. Like I couldn't sleep. So as I started to get rest, more came to me. I was able to pray clearer. And as I was praying and I was thinking of just all these things, and I work for an airlines in HR. I've been there for 10 years in September. So I knew I have to go back to church. I'm church, not church, but work. I have to go back to work. And because I have to be able to provide for my 3 living children. And as I prepared myself to go back to work, I was summoned to jury duty. And I'm like, do I want to? And I've been summoned twice before in my younger years, and I just didn't do anything. I didn't call, I didn't go. It just was like, I'm not doing that. And then here I am. I'm summoned to go to jury duty, and I show up. I show up and I'm selected for a murder and an assault trial.
Oh, wow.
And this is just a couple of weeks after my son passes. And I get picked. So now I'm on this trial for almost a month, and I'm sitting here and I'm listening to everything take place, and I'm eager to be there because now I want to know what are the steps that are going to be taken when it's my turn, when the suspects are sitting here and I'm sitting on the other end and I'm waiting for justice. I need to know how to mentally prepare for that because there are going to be family members, loved ones, the lawyer, everyone speaking up for what's considered the bad guy. So as I sat there daily and I was coming in and I was praying and I'm still pushing through my pain, I didn't tell a soul. I didn't tell nobody until the end. Now we're at the end and it's the day we're submitting the verdict, and I let them know, and the room looks at me and they're like, you're so strong. And
I
I'm
was just
thinking,
thinking
I
that.
have to be, because if I don't, who will? So
Mm,
many people brush off jury duty, but that was part of my story and that was part of my journey to help me gain the strength that's needed, and to also see that it's very important. Things that we think, have somebody else do it, I'm going to sit this one out. No, that's when we need to stand up. So that's part of my story. That was part of my strength, and that's part of my purpose. That makes
mhm.
me push even more. And so when you say you do rant, when you did a rant on Facebook, I'm like, I've been doing rants as well. And I just been saying more of, there's so many opinions about the politicians, but I've seen so many of our new politicians show up and be in the moment. But
Mhm.
where's the community? Where
Mm,
are you at?
that part.
Like, I can hear you call out Paul, Peter, and Saul, but where are you? Because in the midst of the call outs, you have to be able to say you've done all you can.
Period. And that's where I'm at too. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that is
No, no,
real
that's it. That's it. That's
because
what it
it's like,
is. It's time for people to stand up. It's time for our community to take back our community. This is
mm,
our community. This isn't theirs. And these kids, they just don't know. Like, I want to be mad and angry at my son's murderers. I do. I really do. And then there's a huge piece of me that says, I really just want them to be more revealed. I want them to be revealed. I want accountability. Yes, I
Mhm.
want justice. Yes, I want them to go through the process, but I want accountability because I wake up and sometimes my son was murdered in Auburn. He had left the house for 2 hours and was murdered within them 2 hours of friends calling him out, saying, "Come ride with us." What he thought was going to be just a normal joyride ended up being the last day of his life and the last moments of his life. And when I think of that and I look up some days and there's a big X in the sky, and I posted and I say, "There you are, son. You know, like I know you were too big on the earth, but you took up the sky." And I want his killers to see that. And I talk about my son and I post about him every day and I post his pictures because accountability is one thing that the community needs to make people have again. They're
Yep.
so used to pushing it off. Oh, it's this person's fault. It's that person's fault. Have accountability for yourself. I know where I'm at. I took off work. I told my job, like, I felt like the community needed me. My babies needed me there. I had to be there. I took that off to be there. And some people aren't even present that have the availability to be present, but have strong opinions. That's
Child.
crazy to me.
I've been seeing so many think pieces on social media, and it's just very infuriating because it's like, what are you doing with it? You can have your think pieces, but at the end of your think pieces, what is those actionable actions that you can do that you can bring to help restore our community? And like you said, I'm not focused on a system who created this problem for our community. It's
Right.
going to take our community to restore each other so that
Yeah.
we can go against that system
Yeah.
because the system is doing exactly what it's doing. And I hear you when you say like you just want them to be held accountable. It is hard to be mad at people when you know that there is reasons why these kids are doing what they're doing, and it's a lack of resources. It is they're watching their elders
Yep.
fight for power, fight for money, fight for control. And it's
Yes.
like, so it takes our community. Like I'm over here writing notes, like not right now, but like just since my kids don't even go to Rainier Beach, but it could be my kid one day.
Yeah.
It is so easy. We talk about what the parents are not doing, but I remember being in school. I was going to be in school to be a teacher, and I took this course, and it talks about how our children, once they come into that team, they're coming into their own and they're battling who they are versus how they were raised versus what they want versus what their friends are doing. Then you
Mhm.
have community influence, you have church influences. And so, how do we as a community come together and help build, like I keep saying this because I want this to stick to people,
Yes.
practical ways to help restore, practical ways our kids can get through. We're battling years and years of trauma
Yeah.
that is in us that we didn't even know because it's passed down from birth,
Mhm.
starting from slavery. So for us to sit here and continue to post blame, I think it's time for, like you said, us to come together as a community and restore. Because you, listening to your story, you were doing what you were supposed to do as a parent.
Yeah.
Even if you weren't, even if a parent wasn't, what trauma has that parent to be have to gone through
Right.
and not to be able to show up for their children in a way that they should be getting shown up for?
Right. And where's the village? Where's
Where
the village that's supposed to stand up for those parents that to fill those gaps, to
yeah.
fill those voids? Where's the village?
Right. And it's like if you're a single mom, they try to blame you for being a single mom. You shouldn't have had those kids, you're single. When you're married, they still don't show up for you because now they say you got a partner. But at the end of the day, the single mom and the parents, the two-parent household, anyone with children, any people, period, need a community.
They
This
do.
is why we were created to be in community with each other.
Yes.
And so
Yes. And when I
mhm,
was listening to the youth, one of the things that they had asked for were more internships. They said,
mhm,
oh, this so hearing them cry for something to do to earn money so they
yeah,
don't have to go out and do bad things to get money was something that spoke volume to me. Hearing Cortez Charles, a community leader, say, we don't have a teen center, but there's one in the CD and there's one in West Seattle and there's one up north, but the South End doesn't have one. That was volume to my ears. Like, wait, what? No, you're right. We have a community center here, but we don't have a teen center. And These are things that are quick wins that could be done, that we all need to pull together and figure out, because there's no reason we have an empty Rite Aid, we have an empty Bank of America, and we have teens that are crying out saying they want to do internships, they want to have involvement in a positive way in our community.
And I've seen that. Like my daytime job outside of the show is working for a nonprofit farm, and we do have a program during the summer where the kids have shown up for years, and our stipend is small. It is small. I want it to be more. They get $50, I think, every 2 weeks. But these kids, these young kids, have been coming faithfully every summer to make that money. And so those are real asks that these kids need. And what I want to work on is how can we make that money into something where it's like a job for them, where they're not only learning, like they're learning to grow food, feed themselves healthy, feed their community. But can we get them, because that's what they're fighting for. That's what they need.
That's what they
Some of
need.
these kids are lacking resources.
Yep. And instead of them having different things, like different positive things to do to keep their minds intrigued, they're finding things in the streets because they're pushed to them.
Yep.
So it is time that we stand up and we figure out ways to bless our young people, because I told him yesterday, like, you guys are our future. You guys are our future. When the mayor pulls up here, you guys be thinking of quick wins for yourself and advocate for yourself. Because as adults, we try to do and say all we can, but we need to hear from you guys exactly on how to protect you, how to provide what you need to just help you be successful. Because the real win is seeing you guys win. We're going to be older. We're going to
Yeah.
need assistance. We need to know we can really rely on you guys.
Oh my
And it's
goodness. Well,
hard to
that's
say that we can because they carry a fake baby around school. No, let's put real classes and trainings in these high schools. It's
yeah.
more than just raising a baby.
Hello. And it's like it's putting them in their mind to only focus on this is what happens when you go to work. And there's so much more. And I wish I had more time, but time is ending for us. I would love to have you back on and continue to have this conversation if you have time. Community, we need to show up. You heard from Landry on the
Yeah.
things that we need. We're going to continue this talk. We have to. It's not just this conversation is not just going to happen today. We're going to continue to have these conversations because she's right. Our children needs us and we need to hear from them. We need to listen to them. They are our future and we need to step up and show them and guide them in the correct way. It takes community. It takes schools. It takes parents. It takes churches. It takes the system, but the system is broken right now. So what can the other people, what can the other systems do to help support our children right now in real time? Thank you guys for joining in. If you guys want to give feedback, you can always come back to this post and comment. You can find us. I'm gonna get with Lanisha so that I can get her information later, and you can reach out to her. You can reach out to me, and let's build our community. Let's protect our babies. Thank you for tuning in. See you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.